Hey guys, welcome to the shop. It is a very hot one out here today. I was mowing the yard and had some more trouble with the Cub Cadet. I ran out of fuel on the hill and took it into a flat spot, tried to restart it, and the battery was just going completely dead. And tried even a different battery and it's still just straight up dying. So I think I got a short somewhere. So I'm gonna try to catch it, but right here on the hour meter, as soon as it comes on, you guys can see that it goes way down in the voltage. I mean, it's not even able to stay up, and there it just completely died out. So I've already changed out the battery with a completely fully charged battery, and I've looked at the wiring and can't really find anything that's broken. It is dirty in here, but I don't see anything that is broken. And I've even looked underneath here. I'll see if I can show you guys. Underneath there, found a nice little wasp nest that almost got me. But I don't see anything broken under there either. So one of the first things that I'm gonna try to do is disconnect the starter and turn the key on and see if the power stays on. The starter seems like it's kind of staying a little bit warm. So I'm gonna disconnect that first and see if we can keep our voltage on the system, and then that means that maybe the starter is grounding out, or that cable is grounding out somehow. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so I got the starter off, and it's completely dead from just previously. So we're gonna go up further up the chain a little bit. Probably start with maybe the switch and stuff that's up underneath there, right there. So I gotta take off this side panel, and we can kind of troubleshoot it from there. Normally when you're doing electrical stuff, you want to start with the closest thing to like the ignition source, I guess, but the starter is pretty easy to get to instead of having to take off all this paneling, so that's why I opted to do that. Let's see if this will just, I guess we gotta take the handle off as well. Let me get that off and we'll come back. I'm moving all these connections and stuff like that just so that I can look at them a little bit better. And the key switch is extremely dirty. I'll show you guys that. So that's what the key switch looks like right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow that out real quick, probably along with all these other connections. All right, so I cleaned off the entire side of the connections. We'll turn that back over, and I'm getting absolutely nothing. No response whatsoever. I don't think I've got anything starting to come up. Oh, yeah. Alright guys, so I've came on this side and gotten this side panel off as well, and I've detached almost everything except for the hour meter, and I got the key hooked up right here as well as the little sidebar piece, but we can go ahead and probably remove this maybe with one hand. There we go. We'll remove this, and I am getting a good reading that we are getting voltage dropped every time I turn on the key. But so I'll go ahead and I'll put the leads on the battery. All right, so like I said, we got the wires kind of ran in there. As soon as I turn the key to the accessory mode, it drops all the way down. Got it back off, and then I turn it back on, and it drops all the voltage. So we definitely have a short somewhere, and I need to just keep on working on trying to figure out if we have a busted cable somewhere. I am like going around to each of these plugs and making sure that none of them are still showing voltage. Checked across here, and we had voltage on the positive side, or the incoming side, and then no voltage on this side. So that means that we're good on that aspect. So I got to kind of figure out what cable comes out of here that is the accessory and trace it down to a branch. I don't have the electrical drawings. It's got to be something simple that I'm just not seeing. It's probably underneath here somewhere, which I'll go ahead and take these off real quick, and we'll pop that seat and everything off and see what happens with that. Alright guys, well, we are finally having some success with this. I have this connection right here, and I undid this one and put this to the side or whatever. They're plastic, they aren't going to jump electricity that way, but I can put my leads on the terminals, and I'm turning on the accessory position, and we actually are keeping the voltage on this now. So we're kind of getting closer. I'm sure there's like a wire that has rubbed through. I've taken apart this wire right here and this connection, and we are still losing voltage. So I know it's not on this half, it could be before. So I'm gonna keep on. I see one other connection that I could possibly take apart, and it's this one right here. So I could plug in this and undo this one and see if it is that one. So let me do that, and we'll look at it again. All right guys, you can see the meter there. I disconnected that one cable, and let's see. Nope, so it's not that one, it's one of the other ones in the loop of things. So it's either this green, black, or white cable that is running underneath all the engine stuff, and hopefully that will fix the problem if I can find a rubbed wire or something like that. Alright guys, so we're gonna do a little something different besides just look for a rubbed wire. This is obviously shorting out somehow to the ground, and I believe what I can actually do is use my meter and put the ground lead on a ground. Whoop. That's why it's so difficult to do everything with one hand. Come on, stay somewhere. Alright, and I think that I can go through each point and see if so that's 0.034. What was this other one? So I wonder, so I've got this white and the green one that are reading kind of high. Let me check the in-feed side to make sure that that's actually not shorting out somewhere. All right, so when I'm looking at this, I've got these connections right here. I've got this green and the white wire that are reading higher, or that they're not reading closed. They should be. They shouldn't be going to a ground or anything. The green is a ground wire, so obviously that should read, but this white one is not. And I traced it down right here to the carburetor, little fuel pump thing, and I've got the accessories on, I believe. No. So now the accessories are on. I'm reading 10.8 volts. And we will plug this back in. And it didn't go down. Oh, because we don't have the other end connected up yet. All right, so take 2 of this. We've got the connection connected back up. We got 10.8 volts. I've got this unplugged still, and we'll plug it back in and see if it drops, see if troubleshooting is correct. And there we go. So we've got this is staying shorted to the ground, unplugged it, and there we go. Our stuff goes back up. Now this is a little bit dirty, so we'll go ahead and blow this out, but I think there's actually something wrong with the wiring maybe. So let me blow it out real quick and see if we get the same result. I have it completely blown apart, or blown away, or cleared. We'll see if it happens again. And there we go, we lose all of our stuff again. And just for verification purposes, I did go through the incoming side of this connection, and I did test all of the different pins on here as well, and none of these were grounded out. Just this white wire read a little bit higher on the ohms. So we're gonna end up trying to get that switched out. All right guys, so we're looking at a bigger issue than I had originally thought with this electrical issue. I thought I had that the fuel, that there's some kind of short coming out of the fuel solenoid, and I started plugging everything back together, putting everything, all the covers and everything back on, because the fuel solenoid is on the back of the mower, and I rechecked the voltage, and guess what? It dropped. So started looking a little bit further, and I pulled off the hour meter, or the dash cluster for the mower, and the voltage stayed. So if you guys can kind of see here, it starts off at the key switch. You can see that it does run up, over, and it goes to this connection right here, where it does go out here to the fuel solenoid, and it does go up here to the dash connection. It also runs out this way, comes down to a seat switch, and then it comes out and across, loops around to PTO switch, and also the brake switch. So as you can see, I've got this thing pretty well torn apart now, trying to trace and track where all these wires are going. This has became a lot bigger of an issue than I had originally thought. This is like completely almost torn apart. It's still hanging on by a few things, and the pieces that I need to really look at are underneath this side, and I can't really get to them. It's kind of difficult to get this off of here without tearing everything apart. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that aspect right now. Here's that dash cluster. You got your red wire right here. This goes out back to the fuel solenoid, and then right here you got your red wire as well, and this goes to your dash cluster. So I'm gonna clean this all up as well. I worked on it until a little late last night, trying to get stuff checked, and I just called it quits because I was getting frustrated with it. It's kind of hard to even see under here, but we're gonna keep on plugging away on it, and when I find something, I'll bring you guys back to it and try to get you guys to see it as best as possible. All right guys, so I took this thing pretty much completely apart. I tore apart all the wiring, all the sensors have been taken off, and still getting the voltage drop. I don't know why. I even disconnected the power cable from right here, which goes to the not the starter, the solenoid. And I found out that if I had this red and black wire disconnected, I would keep the voltage, and then as soon as I touched it to this red wire, I lost it. Very confusing. So I made sure that every single sensor or regulator, everything was, I mean, you can see I took apart that. The voltage regulator I took out of the system. This green wire, which goes down to the very, very bottom underneath here, it got taken apart. Everything from the coils, everything was taken completely apart, and still had the voltage drop. So the only other thing that I could think of was, well, maybe something's wrong with the battery. So I switched out the battery, and for some reason now I am keeping my voltage. So I'm going to try to put it all back together, and we're not going to bolt anything together. I'm just going to put all the wiring and stuff back together and see if we can keep it, all the voltage. That's going to be some craziness if the battery was the issue. Alright guys, so you guys can see this is somewhat kind of put back together. I've got a bunch of these wire looms put back on. So the disappointing thing is that I took all the sensors completely apart. I mean, everything from the voltage regulator to the ground wires to the little fuel solenoid back here, and made sure that everything was completely off. And I started looking, and right here I was able to take this red and black wire off and took this off of the starter solenoid, connected these two right here, and I was dropping power every single time. I mean, it was like nothing that I could do, just it was like immediately it was grounding out. Traced the red wire that I was looking at, and also this red and black one, and both of them went to the key switch. So I tested out the key switch, ohmed out the different things. Let me show you what I ohmed out real quick. So the 2005 schematic is actually the correct one. They call I guess the after fire, that's the fuel solenoid. But I ended up really paying attention to what all my wire colors were on there. Ends up being that this 2005 one's correct. The 2004 had a bunch of relays and stuff that this mower doesn't have. So I started tracing these all back together, and the red one is the red line. Red and black one is right here on the solenoid, and it comes back here to the key switch. So right here in the key function, it says that when you run, you should get some kind of resistance between the B and R, and when you're not in the run position, it should read an open circuit. Same with the start. So I tested it like this, and the key switch turned out fine. Then I started tracing all these back, and every time I turned the run on, it would allow power going to the solenoid. I kind of traced it down and was thinking that, well, maybe just an oddball thing, something is wrong with the battery. So I switched out the batteries, and I'm holding voltage now with no problem. So right now, I don't have to keep on tearing stuff apart and kind of rechecking things. I'm adding one thing at a time. I got this on, and we're holding the power on the battery, and I've also gotten the fuel solenoid back in and holding power on the battery, which is really crazy that the battery had just it's almost like it was backwards. Like it was just, as soon as I put power on it, it was just grounding itself right back out. I haven't ever seen that before. This is kind of an oddball thing, but I mean, just to make sure, I'm just adding one accessory at a time as I'm putting this back together. And I gotta get the fuel tank back in and everything like that, and I'm gonna try to blow all that out. That's where we're at. I got a lovely mess up here on the deck. Hopefully I'll be mowing in the next hour or so. All right guys, well, everything is put back together, and I only have one bolt left over, so that's good. It means I did a great job. I know exactly where it went, underneath that fuel tank under there, so that bolt is not going to be going back in, because there's no way I'm going to be taking that all back apart. Mower is pretty dirty right now, but it is holding voltage, and I'll put the, so you guys can see it's got 12.5, and before it would just shut right off. I mean, it was crazy. I don't understand how the battery was doing that, but it was. I haven't changed out really any batteries or anything, or had any bad batteries in the shop, so that was kind of crazy. So at least I'll be able to get the mowing done today. And struggles with this Cub Cadet, man, I'm telling you, this thing I bought for $400, had to replace the spindles on it. It's gonna need new tires soon. This one's kind of getting a little bald, and it's getting low on air, or it keeps going low on air. This one is also getting bald, but I'm glad I didn't really have to put any money into this this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the yard mowed and enjoy that sweet ride that I just had to change out the battery. So that was a rough ride, guys. I want to know how many of you guys actually knew what it was right at the beginning of the video. I did not. I did not think that it was going to be the battery. I rotate out my batteries with different mowers and stuff, and I just used that one on the other Cub Cadet and had no issues with it, so I was kind of surprised. But I don't understand why. It's almost like it's reversed in polarity, and every time I turn the ignition on, it just bombed out and just went bad. So I don't know, I'm gonna put that one to the side, right on it, say bad, and probably take it up to the auto store whenever I need another battery on like another mower or something like that. But man, that was insane. Lots of stuff got taken apart. That was pretty in depth. But I appreciate you guys hanging out, sticking with me, watching me work on that thing, and getting some stuff done. All I had to do was change out a battery, and I tore the whole entire mower apart. But thanks guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you guys are new, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.